This is TechVibe Radio, your front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. TechVibe is brought to you by Compunetics at compunetics.com, Chorus Call at choruscall.com, Highmark at highmark.com, Huntington Bank at huntington.com, Kindling at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at pnc.com, and Savier at savier.com. Here are your hosts, Audrey Russo and Jonathan Kirsting of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, coming at you from the Huntington Bank studios. Good morning, everybody. So happy you are joining us for TechVibe Radio. We are talking to some pretty crazy companies on TechVibe. These are the companies that I think are just changing the world in so many ways. And one company we have hanging out with us today, I think is really going to get you going. You're going to be like, what? These guys are in Pittsburgh? I'm like, yeah, they're in Pittsburgh. And you're learning about them right here on TechVibe Radio. I'm talking about Neya Systems. This is a company that is solving some pretty tough problems. I'm talking about advanced perception technologies. I mean, making stuff autonomous. You know, Pittsburgh's a town for autonomy. Neya is leading the way in that. And I am talking to Amanda Sgroi today. Oh my goodness, Amanda. You have to have the most fun of anybody I know because you're working on some cool stuff at Neya. Thanks for hanging out with me this morning and taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I definitely enjoy working with ground robots and all kinds of autonomy, especially as it relates to advanced perception.
I mean, when we talk about advanced perception, this is what makes something autonomous. I mean, you can't be autonomous unless you can see. Or it can see where it's going so it can navigate its way through the world. So you're like the hearts and brains of this thing.
Yeah,
as far
I would
as that
even
goes.
say more like the eyes of the system.
Even better yet. See, you cut right to the chase. I like that. That's awesome. Before we jump into these conversations, because we have a lot to unpack today when it comes to what you're doing over there. First off, I got to know about Amanda, first of all. I mean, I'm always impressed when I meet engineers working on crazy cool stuff. What's your background? How long you been at Neya for? Why the heck are you doing this? Does your mom know you're doing this? All the fun stuff.
Yeah, so I grew up in central Pennsylvania. I grew up in Johnstown. I did my undergrad at Duquesne University right here in Pittsburgh, and I had some awesome opportunities to do undergrad research there, where I was doing image processing with a mathematics professor, and that really got me excited about going to grad school. So I ended up going to the University of Notre Dame, where I studied computer science and engineering, and started getting into computer vision and this idea of perception.
Ooh, yeah. Oh my goodness. Wow. But you came back to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So at the time, I thought I originally wanted to be a professor, but the market was really swamped. Everybody
boring. I mean, I love you professors out there, but I'm saying I think it's a little more fun doing what you're doing, working for a robotics company, for crying out loud.
Yeah. So I actually started at Neya because Parag Batavia, our founder, just sent me a message on LinkedIn and said, hey, I see that you're here in Pittsburgh, that you're working, that you do cool computer vision stuff, and we might have a spot for you up at Neya Systems. I came in for an interview. Everyone was great. I landed the job, and I started there as a robotics engineer.
No way. I could see Prague doing something like that. That's pretty cool. He reached out on LinkedIn, hey, that's got to be a pretty cool feeling that people are reaching out to you for crying out loud. That's right.
Yeah, it's a fun thing about having a really specialized skill like computer vision, machine learning, especially where technology is for humanity right now.
Absolutely. Very cool stuff. Okay, so let's just jump into this a little bit. First off, just tell our listeners about Neya, the quick things that you guys are building over there. Then we're going to jump into what you do around all the vision and perception and good stuff like that.
Yeah, so Neya Systems is a leader in off-road autonomy. We do a lot of defense work where we're building ground robots of various types, and we put our autonomy kit, B kit, A kit onto all different kinds of platforms and allow them to drive in off-road scenarios in different environment, different weather, completely unconstrained.
Ooh, yeah. Especially when we talk about weather conditions getting crazy. So this is a technology that goes on top of an existing piece of hardware that is ready to roll, for lack of a better term, right?
Yeah.
And you make it actually operate autonomously in the environment that it's set for.
Yeah, we do all kinds of different integration. We can do stuff where like you buy a platform off of the line from a provider like say Polaris, and we do the encoder integration and do all of the hookups into that vehicle to allow it to be autonomous. We also work with by-wire ready vehicles, which means there's one cable harness, we hook our computer and our sensors up to it, and we're ready to go.
Oh, those are the fun ones then. You just plug it in.
Yep.
A little less wiring to do there. That's very, very cool. Okay, so let's just jump into this right now, explaining how advancements in perception are also advancing the field of autonomous systems. Because like we're talking about before, like I was saying it's the soul, you're like it's the eyes, of course. But like I feel like without it, they're not autonomous. So walk me through that a little bit.
Yeah, so perception is really one of the major keys in making something autonomous. It's how you understand the scene around you. It's how you understand the world. You hear a lot in the news about machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence. As those things advance, so do computer vision capabilities because they really hold hands together as one in the system. So as we're able to do object identification better, as we're able to do scene understanding and scene segmentation more efficiently, that allows us to explore new and unknown territory with ease and allow robots to enter those environments and work autonomously.
And it's just got to be so tricky when you're out in the actual environment, in the field where the conditions are changing, where a tree stump could be something else. I mean, it's a great way to really confuse a robot without a doubt. And the idea that your technology allows it to know exactly where it is and how to navigate based upon what it's perceiving. Man, that's got to be tough.
Yeah, and we tackle that in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
So we tackle it by using a mix of different sensor types.
Okay.
So we use monocular cameras, which is like a typical camera that might be on your phone. We also do LiDAR and radar, which provide us with point clouds. And by fusing all of that data together, we can do something like we look out into the world and we see a grassy field, but then we can also see the rocks that are hidden behind the grass in that field and know I can traverse through that grass, but don't go over here because that's where a big rock is and we probably don't want to drive over that.
Very interesting. How important is that for like the military and stuff, which I can see obviously for defense? At the Tech Council, we get very excited about defense robotics because it's such a specialty of our region. And it's because of companies like you that are out there building these things. But I think about like the safety of our troops and so forth out there, and the fact that like, yeah, you could see through a field, but you could see the dangers that are right beneath. It looks like, oh, a nice grassy field, but no, actually the LiDAR is saying there's some crazy stuff hidden underneath there. So we're not going to go that direction.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's super critical for our defense capabilities today. And a couple of ways that we use that are by looking towards humans and machines in formation together to say that we want to work with humans. So we need to be able to detect the footed assets and, hey, don't run into that soldier. You're actually in formation with them. It's a good thing that they're far away from your bubble. But also by doing convoy operations, by having a leader vehicle that's maybe autonomous, that's uncrewed, and it can go into more dangerous situations and then report back to maybe crewed assets that are running autonomously. And it allows you to keep moving forward efficiently, but not put any of our manned soldiers, our manned assets in the line of fire.
Protecting our people all day. You can build another robot. You can't build another human being. Simple as that. That's why I get so excited hearing about what you guys do, because I think just directly the positive impact it's making for our country and for our soldiers and everything like that. I'm like, yeah, in Pittsburgh, we do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's Amanda helping make that happen. And so you get to have a lot of fun when you're coming to work then.
Yeah, my team and I, we have a really good time, especially when we're in challenging environments. For example, this last year, we were out in the desert, dust blowing around. We got little tumbleweeds and wind tornadoes blowing, and the vehicle is still just rolling on its own. Whether
those wind tornado things or not, right?
Yeah.
Tumbleweeds and all. It's like you're learning, oh, that's so much fun. Hey, we're taking a quick break, but I'm having too much fun talking to you because this is the stuff that makes me so excited about what I do at the Tech Council, because I feel like I get to learn something and then our listeners are learning something. And it's like, yeah, it's Pittsburgh. We have, Neya hanging out there, building autonomous robots, for the government, to protect our troops, stuff like that. And we got awesome engineers like Amanda who are like, went to Duquesne, went to Notre Dame, and then, was saying, hey, on LinkedIn, would you come work for us? It's like, oh, we'll think about it. Very cool stuff. And just go to neyarobotics.com to learn all about it. We're taking a quick break. This is Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council. Go to pghtech.org, and I'll see you in just a quick minute. Compunetics is the leading developer of unified voice, video, and data collaboration and conferencing applications for the service provider, government, and unique workflow applications. The Summit Olympus and Evergreen platforms, driven by their encrypted user interfaces, enable powerful and secure collaboration. Combined with world-class support and innovative professional services, Compunetics delivers the right solution every time. Learn more at compunetics.com. Every company needs to attract and keep talented people. To do it, you need a strong company story told by those who experience it every day, your employees. So invite your people to be your brand voice and let the Kindling Culture Agency gather and ignite your stories to engage and attract your people. Learn how at sparksomething.big.com. That's sparksomething.big.com. Your dial is set to TechVibe Radio, brought to you by Compunetics, Chorus Call, Highmark, Huntington Bank, Kindling, PNC Bank, and Xavier. Here are your hosts, Audrey Russo and Jonathan Kirsting of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, coming at you from the Huntington Bank studios. It's true. You're listening to TechVibe this morning, and you made a very wise decision because you are learning about one of the coolest tech companies here in Pittsburgh. Not just a tech company, but a robotics company doing lots of autonomy that's saving lots of lives, keeping our country safe on top of that. This is Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council, and I am talking to Amanda Sgroi from Neya Systems. Go to neyarobotics.com and learn all about them. Your mind's going to be blown when you go there because you're going to see some really cool stuff. We're going to be like, wait, they're doing that stuff here in the Pittsburgh area? Absolutely they are, because we are a leader in this stuff. So Amanda, thanks for hanging out with me today.
Yeah, I'm super happy to be here and continue chatting.
That's what it's all about. I tell you, I wish we had like another hour to talk, but I get 22 minutes, man. So we got to make the best of it. And when just kind of fall into our conversation, we were kind of talking about how you're able to get these robots to actually see through the environment. We mentioned like using combinations of LiDAR and regular cameras so you can see the environment, but also see behind the environment and so forth. And as I got thinking around this, there's a kind of like a misperception that when we talk about autonomy, that it's either you're fully autonomous or you're not at all. But there's actually like levels. There's like scales. And I think you work within all those levels because sometimes a human being is still involved. Tell me how that works and what kind of sensors and stuff that you use as these different levels kind of require different types of equipment and so forth.
Yeah. So just like in on-road autonomy, where you can talk about levels 1 through 5, where 5 is the fully autonomous, holy grail of the system. It works in all cases. We can also talk about that for off-road autonomy.
Okay.
So for us, level 0 per se is there's just sensors on the system that give you some input. And then that level 1 is now I have situational awareness. I have some cameras giving me maybe 360 feedback of what is in the surroundings of the ground platform or the aerial platform per se. And that's going back to a user that has some user interface, some controller, and they're able to operate the system by remote control.
Interesting. That makes total sense. Yeah. I mean, you're actually getting some autonomy because you're not totally worried about what's around you because you know what's around you because you're just seeing it because of the cameras and so forth. Okay,
yeah.
Keep going.
And then we can build up from there. Maybe we have some guarded teleoperation. So this means now I'm using computer vision input from other sensors like a LiDAR that say there's an obstacle in front of me. And even if you try to drive all the way into that obstacle, the autonomous part of the system is going to say no. It's going to guard you against doing the bad thing. So this is our see and stop behavior. And we can do that either in teleoperation with remote control, or we can do this in the very next level with some autonomy. So we'll give, some breadcrumbs for the vehicle to follow, and we'll say, follow that best you can. If there's an obstacle, it'll see it and it will stop. It won't try to go around it.
That's what I'm talking about. Even at that one level with the see and stop, that's got to be so valuable sometimes. I mean, I think that could save some people just in their regular driving as far as I'm concerned. I think about things I've almost run over a couple of times. You're like, wait a second, why did I know that curb was there? The car says, I'm not moving. Like, why aren't you moving? Like, oh, because there's a giant curb ready to take the front of my car out. So interesting stuff. Very, very cool.
Yeah, and then you can go, all the way to full autonomy. Sometimes we look at this as an intelligent route following where a user is providing some input, some waypoints. The vehicle is going to follow as best it can, but it's going to go around all of the obstacles. It's going to make best choices about how to get to its final destination. Or in the case of a go-to-point scenario, you give it one input, say, go there. That's where the ultimate position is, and the vehicle can choose any number of paths to get there.
It just has to get there, and based on what it knows of its surroundings, it will get there.
Yes.
That's interesting. Very, very cool. So you got to tell me, like, as you're coming to work to build these things, every day's got to be a little bit of a different day because you're always solving a slightly different challenge. I'm sure there's some things where it's always the same, like we need these types of sensors, we're going to put them together. But there's always got to be some curveballs being thrown at you. What's it like when you go to work every day and have to solve these problems with your team?
Yeah, I think one of the really cool things I get to do is come up with the ways to break the vehicle and break the autonomous system.
Okay, now I'm sold. I want to work for you guys. I just want to be able, you can pay me to break stuff, right?
Yeah, so we operate in flat pavement, on dirt trails, some improved style roads, but I get to go out and build rocky roads and put up obstacles for the vehicle.
Wait, where do you do this? Okay.
Yeah, we're doing this in Pittsburgh. We're doing this up in Pine Township at our testing facility where we get to make the scenario for the vehicle to drive through and make sure it works because as we were talking about in the defense space, that landscape is changing every single day.
Absolutely.
And so we need to make sure our robot sees new stuff every single day.
Well, I'll tell you what, I know some good locales for you guys in the East End where there's some pretty gnarly roads where I'm like, this might be some good training or some Jeep proving grounds of some kind. So, I mean, how much fun is that then? You're going out, you're doing that, you're working on these systems. I feel like you're like, is this like almost like a dream job for you in some ways? Do you able to combine all these things together?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've always seeked out in any place that I've been is the ability to make whatever I'm coding, whatever I'm writing about, whatever I'm working on with the team come to life.
Yeah.
And I get to see that every day. I get to see the vehicle go out. I get to see new integrations. I get to see new projects come in. And one of the awesome things about Neya's autonomy stack is it can be used on any ground platform. So this could be, a truck, a 6x6. It could be a typical off-road vehicle, some 4x4 style platform, or it could be, a military style platform. Or a 2-story mining vehicle, and it's all the same.
Wow, have you ever worked on a 2-story mining vehicle? That'd be pretty cool.
I think yep.
Okay, you got clearance there. I like that. I know I'm not allowed to talk about all these things. I'm like, that's why I'm saying you get to have so much fun because you're working on this type of stuff. And what makes me excited is that in many ways you can only do this in Pittsburgh, right? I mean, where else could you work across the country, like in Massachusetts or like in Boston when we have some robotics and out on the coast? But I'm glad you came back to Pittsburgh after, being in Notre Dame. Like, what was the draw to come back to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I really think it's the robotics community and how each individual company in Pittsburgh makes its own community, and we're able to reach out across the robotics network, find collaborations, and make sure we're solving those hardest problems the best way possible.
Very much so. So I'm always looking ahead. I always think it's like in a year from now, we're going to laugh at some of the technology that we're working on now. It's always like, haha, like what we're so funny. Looking into the future of this, I mean, you're probably seeing a lot of things before, the public really gets to see them, where you're building things that are going to become even better. Like, what are you really excited about for the future? What kind of technologies do you see things happening? When will we hit that level 5?
For me, for perception, one of the things I'm keeping my eye on is really passive sensing. So right now with technologies like LiDAR and radar, those sensors are physically emitting a signal and then waiting for those signals to return.
Okay.
But with passive sensing, it's detecting and measuring energy that naturally occurs. And so there's no emission of a signal. It's just receiving natural signals out in the environment.
Oh, that's cool. What kind of signals are we talking about here?
So this could be visible wavelengths, things that are absorbed and re-emitted from thermal infrared wavelengths. So it's absorbing sun energy and then reflecting that back, and the sensor is capturing those reflections. But again, there's no physical system sending any signals, so there's nothing to detect, say, from an enemy.
That's be really game changing. I mean, I'm thinking about some advantages that would give you just in the battlefield alone, just being able to not put a signal out to know that you're capturing signals, right?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, so once again, you're having way too much fun. Way too much fun. I'm trying to think about like the idea of when you come into work every single day, you're charged up, like does it ever seem like, I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. It seems like you have a real purpose when you come to work, right? Because when you're working on this stuff, you're solving a real challenge. And that challenge is potentially going to save like a soldier's life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that would get me really, really fired up to come into work and be like, I want to do my best.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's a shared passion across Neya and across my team. And also just the ability to see how like not only this will impact defense, but it could help, everyday workers. It could help people in the agricultural space. It could help people in the energy space. And so it's really applicable across the board, and it's going to impact a lot of lives.
Yeah, I like that you bring in the fact that it goes into things like agriculture or industry where there's some dangerous jobs that makes them safer, or it can get the human being out of the dangerous position altogether. Like I said, so many cool applications when it comes to what you guys do. And what I wish you had an application for right now is giving me more time to talk to you because I just find this so interesting. I'm so glad you're working at Neya, doing what you do. It seems like you're having a great time doing it and doing some fun stuff.
Yeah.
So Amanda, I can't thank you enough for hanging out with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
That's what it's all about. And I'm telling everybody, you have to go to neyarobotics.com and check out what they're up to because you're gonna be pretty stoked. And after that, go to pghtech.org and check out all the ways we can help your tech company succeed. Guaranteed. Lots of fun surfing in your future if you do what I tell you. And I always remind everybody, if you want more Tech Vibe on demand, just download it where you get your favorite podcasts. Oh my goodness, we have like over 3,000 interviews. Good stuff. All awesome positive stories about what's happening here in Pittsburgh. Hey, this has been Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council. Have an awesome rest of your Sunday, everybody. Compunetics is the leading developer of unified voice, video, and data collaboration and conferencing applications for the service provider, government, and unique workflow applications. The Summit Olympus and Evergreen platforms, driven by their encrypted user interfaces, enable powerful and secure collaboration. Combined with world-class support and innovative professional services, Compunetics delivers the right solution every time. Learn more at compunetics.com. Thanks for geeking out with us on TechVibe Radio. Tune in next Sunday for more tech and innovation stories right here from Pittsburgh. TechVibe is brought to you by Compunetics at compunetics.com, Chorus Call at choruscall.com, Highmark at highmark.com, Huntington Bank at huntington.com, Kindling at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at pnc.com, and Savier at savier.com. And we're always coming at you from the Huntington Bank Studios.